everybody. Guess who? It's Safi and Marco, dish out on the movies. And guess what we're doing? We are reviewing the last episode of Fargo, episode 11. And Marco, do you know the name of it? Which I don't think has anything to do with anything.
Storia Americana.
Oh, okay. Which means American Story.
It means pretentiously titleia. That's what I call it, pretentiously titleia. Because that title literally has nothing to do with this episode. I mean, there's no American Story the whole episode. I mean, the closest thing to that is the fact that Chris Rock is, with his family, I guess, and that's an American Story kind of, but not really. And but just that's a terrible title, by the way. I think the title's probably the worst part of the episode.
Well, we both liked the episode a lot, but frankly, because they've killed everybody, and they continued in this episode without batting an eyelash, everybody's gone, so there isn't much to focus on. But my dream came true, or my wish came true, or just something I wanted to happen, because as a parent, I mean, it's just even watching it for a fictional thing on TV, I still want it to be positive. And that was that Chris Rock and his wife got to see their son Satchel, because he actually walked home or came home somehow, and he found him. I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on, and Chris Rock goes in there and into the house, and and it's open. There's things on the floor, and then he goes upstairs and he finds Satchel on the bed with the dog. And I thought that was really nice, and his mother got to see him. So I really liked that. But I'll say, because last time, remember that Satchel and the rabbi hardly talked during the whole season. I mean, their words were very few. The rabbi had a lot more, but he didn't have a lot. Because he was that was really part of his persona, I think, to be the silent type. And, but anyway, I could tell by Satchel, when he got up and his mother was still downstairs, and he walked down the stairs, and he had grown like 3 inches or something. And so, yes, his voice probably did change really low because he went through puberty. That year, I guess, this last, 2020 or 2019, whatever, when they were filming these last, they said it was after their lockdown, their pandemic lockdown, they did these last 2 episodes. So, I've seen that. I'm a parent, and, your child, your son especially, can go through puberty like that in 2 seconds in a year, part of a year. So I've seen it. So anyway, it was. I was glad to see that, because I thought that was odd that when they showed him talking, you heard him talking the last episode, his voice was really low, and I'm like, what? He was just a little boy, and
aren't we a little over with that voice thing, Safi?
Well, it's just and also I have to complain again about the lighting.
He doesn't even talk this episode.
Well, I think he did say
he
says
one word, and so
I was like,
this I thought it was a poor choice to not have Satchel talk in the final episode basically at all. I thought that it was a huge missed opportunity for him at the end of the episode. Jumping ahead, at the end of the episode, he actually confronts his father's killer. And they're standing right there, 6 feet apart for like a couple of minutes of like slow motion. And it's like, I would have liked to have seen him talk to her and tell her off, or like a monologue. And I would have liked to have been the last scene of the episode, because I think that would have been really cool to see the kid actually talk like the adult Mike does in season 2. Mm-hmm. I thought that would have been really cool. at the very end.
Yeah.
Because the way that it was, so surprising, funnily enough, it reminded me of Bruce Wayne seeing his parents getting killed, and and then him just crying and not like saying anything, and that's what that scene reminded me of. And I thought, this is not Bruce Wayne, this is Satchel, and he's made this character transition, so I don't understand why they didn't have him talk. Of course we're going to have the commenters say that we should just accept anything that Fargo does because
it's Fargo.
Yeah, because it's Fargo. Which, sorry, but I'm not going to accept anything unless it's actually good.
Also, I just want to make everybody aware, because even Marco wasn't aware. Can't believe that, can you? I was watching the episode, and I was doing something, and kept going on into the credits, and then they had a little surprise at the end in the credits. You see a lot of credits first, and then that scene appears, and they do this a lot when you go to the theater, but not on a TV show, and not that I'm aware of. Of course, I don't watch a lot of TV shows, but anyway, they show Mike or Satchel as an adult.
It's new footage of...
He's in the back of a car.
It's new footage of Mike in the back of a car.
Loading up a gun, getting it ready.
It's new footage of Mike in the back of a car.
Doesn't say anything.
It's new footage with Mike in the back of a car. And, it was a very strange scene because they played like this music like it was an epic reveal. And to me, I already knew that he was Mike from the first episode. And so I don't know why they played music like it was this like big reveal, like it's like some fantastic revelation, when like I already figured that out a million years ago, and it's not surprising. And the scene itself, it was cool because, when I did my season 2 review, I said I want to see a spinoff all about him. And so it was cool to see new footage with him, because I actually predicted that. I said that like they would bring him in for like the end of the episode, hopefully. But with this season being so trash, I didn't think they really would. And so that was cool seeing him. But I thought it was ultimately kind of a fail because, like, he doesn't even talk. I mean, are they trying to like retcon it where they're trying to make it look like he didn't talk at all? Because he's literally the most talkative character of the entire series.
Of season 2.
No, of the entire series. Out of everyone in the whole show. The whole show's history, if you look back, he's the one who likes to talk the most.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he does.
And so the fact that his final scene in this season, of course, we don't know what the original plan was because this had to be rewritten after the pandemic happens. And so they had to rewrite it, and so maybe he did talk originally, and then for some reason he doesn't anymore. But that was strange. That was very strange. But I thought it was cool, and I liked the music, but I just thought it was a weird scene. And I mean, the episode started off weird too. I mean, it starts off with this weird montage of all the characters who died this season. Like, it's really queer. It's this montage of like little mini videos of people who died with this sappy, sad music playing over it.
It was like the memoriam at the Oscars to different people who died during the year.
And it didn't make any sense whatsoever. It was just completely weird. I was really like, what the hell is this?
A lot of people died.
It was basically like a slap in the face to me, because it just because everything else in this episode was really good for the most part, but this part, this weird editing choice, it was like a slap in the face, because it's just reminding you that they killed all the best characters.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh wow, thanks for reminding me again for the millionth time that the only characters left are the worst characters the whole season, except for the nurse. But other than that, like every other character, I hated those characters. Except for, I guess, Chris Rock's wife, because she really wasn't a character. And then, of course, Satchel, but he really wasn't that much of a character.
No.
Yeah. But other than that, this episode was really good. I give it an A+. It was very satisfying. It was basically a death montage for the whole episode of different deaths. And that's why it was satisfying. It was basically like, we gotta make the best of what we have. We gotta take the leftovers and of the Thanksgiving dinner and make some crappy dinner out of it, and they did the best with what they had. But it just shows that this season was so terrible, because this is the finale. You called this like the most epic season in scale, but it's like, is it really epic if the final episode feels like it was like a part of like a mini series or something? Like, it's so bare and basic. But that's why it works, because it's very satisfying the way that things are just so straightforward and they all happen. And it's not like, oh, we're gonna spin our wheels and have Chris Rock's shitty character with this terrible performance. We're not gonna have him survive for another 10 seasons. He's dead now. That character's dead. That character's dead. I really like that about this episode, the fact that those characters all got disposed of. And I say my favorite part, I'm sure Safi agrees. Well, actually, she likes the Satchel part.
Well, I'm happy that I'm happy that the parents got to see their son, and didn't get to go to their deathbeds thinking that he died when he didn't.
Well, I could care less, because Chris Rock's a criminal. He's evil.
I don't care.
And
he's still his father, and I think he
he's
felt
evil.
remorseful about doing that thing where you trade your boys or something.
If Ted Bundy wanted to see his kid, I wouldn't give a flying fuck if he wanted to see his kid. And so the fact that you think that Chris Rock deserves to see his kid is insane. Chris Rock is like almost even worse than Ted Bundy.
Well, that's just my opinion. And the way he got told, we got rid of your son, or whatever, or he got killed, or whatever he said, that guy with the mustache.
It was a terrible decision. What kind of a dipshit would trade their own son for some sort of a stupid peace plan? It was a stupid idea to begin with, and the fact that Chris Rock was okay with doing that just shows that he got what he deserved.
Whatever, Marco. Wasn't he supposed to have given his other son over there instead of Satchel? The older boy?
I'm not sure. I don't even care.
I didn't understand that anyway.
Lemuel.
Yeah, Lemuel.
Well, I think Lemuel is in community college.
Oh yeah. Okay, so he meant for him to do something else. It was kind of like what we were talking about, The Godfather with Mike.
Yeah.
How The Godfather didn't want him to participate in the business, and then it just ended up that was the way it was going to be.
Well, my favorite part was the stuff with the Italians. The stuff with, that old guy who becomes the new boss.
From New York.
The guy who would talk to Dr. Senator. He becomes the new boss. And he played a really sinister and dark character in this episode. And he gave a fantastic performance. And I thought, I wish this character's cool. It's like, oh, look, you've got one surprise that you were able to pull on me. And I really liked that with his character. I didn't like the logic, though, of them believing this stupid plot where it's like the mustache man possibly killed his brother. It's just, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the fact that they believed that, to me, it was just an excuse, and it was just a fake thing. And I'm fine with that, but it's like the way that it was played, it's like they're trying to make it look like they actually believed it. I thought, that's stupid.
Yeah. What we're talking about is that, remember, the girl gave the ring to Chris Rock, and Chris Rock gave the ring to the the Italian guy who took over. And so he died, and then his brother, just remember last week it was just an accident, but he fell on his own gun. And when he fell, the gun went off in his head, which that part was really gross. And so he thought, and they let the nurse out, and she told them, and because she's such a manipulator, she told them that he wanted her to do that, kill his father. Well, she's a effing serial killer. She's killed all kinds of people. Marco says maybe hundreds. So their dad, or the Don, he was just one of the people she killed. She didn't know about all that, I don't think, or she didn't care. So they were stupid enough to believe her, or did they just use that as an excuse to get rid of him because he was being a petulant little man baby?
Well, but the thing is about that is that was really cool, because it was like, they kind of took those stupid plots that really meant nothing the whole season, and they made them mean something. Like the thing with the dad getting killed, like I didn't think that was ever going to play into anything again. Really.
I did. You mean with the ring?
No, in terms of Mustache Man, like taking it and using it against Mustache Man.
Oh.
And then the thing with him having an affair with Nurse Mayflower, that comes back, and it's like they're like a dark couple, and that was weird. But I really liked that whole Italian sequence. I thought that was the best part of the episode. And, my favorite part of the whole episode was when Nurse Mayflower is standing next to Mustache Man, and she's like, shoot him first so I can watch. And I thought that was hilarious. That was so, because they like delayed them getting killed, because they I mean, just think about this, Safi. They showed so much footage of just them, getting taken away, sitting in the car, walking into the field, and it's like, this isn't dramatic. It because it's almost like it's trying to make it look like they'll escape somehow, but then they don't.
I didn't think that. I just thought it was almost kind of like filler. Well, the thing is, people get if you see any of these mafia movies, people get killed all the time, and you'll see the end result, but you don't see the whole process. So the whole process, they're in the car, and they have a little argument, and they're in the back seat, and she starts beating up on him, and then they stop, and then they have to walk through the field. I mean, the whole
it was really dark
process.
It was really dark, though, because it was almost like an impending doom.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really dark for this season that's been so comical and over exaggerated the whole time. I really like that, and to have it end with her asking for them to shoot him first, and then they actually do it, and it's like, that's really dark for this season. I thought that was really cool. Like, I wish the whole season would have been as dark like that, and as good as that. And then I liked the sequence that you liked, where Chris Rock comes home to find Satchel. That sequence, to me, parallels the sequence in season 2. The finale, that shitty finale of season 2. Ugh. That's probably, I would say the season 2 finale is like my third worst episode of the whole series. Maybe fourth. That episode is terrible. Even though the season is fantastic. But in that episode, Mike and one of the Kitchen brothers, whatever, they come back to the
city.
To the what?
The city. They go back to the city and meet.
No, Safi. They go back to, just let me finish.
Okay.
They go back to the house of the gang, and they think that the house is empty, and they're searching around the house just like Chris Rock is searching around his house. And they think it's empty, and then they find the woman there, the maid, and she's cooking, and they have that, and then that other guy comes. And to me, it really reminded me of that, and so I thought that was cool too, because it's like, you know, I bet people didn't even realize that when they watched it. You know, I bet they have to listen to some dumbass on YouTube talk about the, you know, all the different little symbols that don't mean anything in this episode. I mean, like, you had that one thing, you know, because I know this is going to be brought up in those shitty analysis videos. You know, the thing with the oranges, you know, Chris Rock's character gets stabbed to death by the ant, which I really liked that scene too. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a perfect death for his character, and I love the fact that he got a brutal death like he deserved. And
well, he left a stone unturned. He
Yeah.
thought he had everything wrapped up in a bow, even though he lost out on a part of it. But he still got his son back, and he was alive, and everything was well. And so then this happens, and he forgot all about her. Because remember, she ran off. She got away in the train station, and we wondered. Marco even said, I bet she comes back at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, I knew. But Chris Rock had oranges, a big bunch of oranges, which is, of course, a reference to The Godfather, where the Marlon Brando gets shot up with the oranges. He's buying oranges. And so that's like a notorious cliche symbol of getting assassinated, is you have oranges. And so I thought that was queer, because, you know, of course people are going to say, oh my god, that makes this the greatest show of all time. Oh my god, it's so deep because they showed oranges. Oh my god. And then, like, the thing with the old man, the new Italian Don, I guess you call him, you know, his office was so poorly lit.
Yeah. That was, it's so funny. The whole season, you know, I've been complaining about the lighting. And here he's sitting in this office. I guess that was the office that the mustache man had, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Chris Rock comes in. Everything's been done, you know, and so he says, he finds out that, well, the Don gives him this paper, and for him to read, which says what he gets now as a result of all this ring and the nurse and the, you know, as a result of everything that's happened. And you can't, they put the camera on the paper. I couldn't read a thing. And even if I had watched it 100 times, I never would have been able to read that. In fact, if you're doing any kind of reading of any kind, or business, writing, anything, you couldn't do anything in that office. It was so dark.
Well, what I was saying was that
Freaked me out.
it's a reference yet again to The Godfather, because that's how The Godfather's office was lit. His office was very dark, and it was very eerie looking, I guess you'd say. But the thing with that is that,
I think I had a better desk light.
well, yeah, they were so good at lighting with that movie that they actually made it to where you could see things. But with this, it was very weird. It was like it was weird. It's like they lost power or something.
It just freaked me out. You know, normal anybody, they couldn't. See, what happened was, he said, this is what, you know, whatever the outcome is. And he says, oh my, he looks at it, and they put the camera right on the paper. And I mean, like it was a kind of a close-up shot. And he says, but I've lost, I've lost half my business, or something like that. And I'm looking at it like, what? Where does it say that? And what does it say? Why put the camera on it so close?
You could also say that parallels the scene in season 2 finale where Mike, where he reports back to his boss, and then his boss basically says that he works in the office now. And to me, it kind of had that same sort of feel where Chris Rock really lost even though he won, and now he's gonna be in I hate to use the word, but in slavery to the Italian group for the rest of his life. And so it sort of had that same, it had a parallel to me, and so that's another sort of little analysis thing in this, if you want to even call it an analysis. And then if you think about it too, the old man Italian new leader, he kind of sounds and looks a little bit like Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has the same sort of kind of hairstyle. He has the same kind of like deep voice a little bit, and so you could also say that too. Maybe that's another Godfather reference.
Well, okay, I just want to say though, if you want to look at reality, because they keep saying this is an actual event and it really happened, the names were changed. Well, okay, we all know this BS.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's fucking
but
dumb.
the real thing about it is the Italians, the mob, were the force that stayed strong, because
Yeah.
I lived there, and that's the only thing people talked about, and everybody knew where they hung out. They had a certain restaurant, and I even knew that, and it went on forever. I think it was until, I don't know what happened, Gotti or whoever, it kind of collapsed a little bit. I don't know what's going on now, if they have some kind of a smaller organization, or they're just quieter, or they don't have it at all. I don't know, but they were the force in Kansas City.
Well, so Safi, what would you rate this episode though? Because I gave it an A+. What would you give it?
I was gonna give it a B+, but I'll give it an A, because that little lighting thing, it's just comical now. Okay, I just don't get their
But
logic.
Safi, it's incredible. It's the greatest television ever made.
Yeah, right. I don't believe that for 1 minute.
Yeah, can you believe there were actually someone on the last video who had the nerve to say that we can't question what goes on because it's based on true events?
Yeah. Oh, I do want to say too, complain a bit. I don't like the thing where they ended with that girl doing her essay.
Ugh.
She's way beyond that. That's high school stuff. She's leaving.
You had to bring up the narrator.
No, I wanted
girl.
to do that because I feel like they thought that was really cute, how they started with the essay thing and they ended. Okay, tell me, are you going to be doing the same essay you were doing as a freshman in high school as a senior? What I was thinking, because she learned how to speak French, and she's very intelligent and adaptable, that she got money or something, and she's going to France, because they show her with her. She's all dressed up. She looks very nice. She has a beautiful set of luggage, and she's leaving. And I'm thinking, like, she's either going to college or she's. But I was hoping she's going to Paris. They don't say a word about it, what she's doing.
It's really
not a word.
It's bizarre.
I don't like that either.
I didn't really want to bring it up because I gave this episode an A+, and so.
No, but I wanted to, because I thought they could have. I mean, all you have to do is add a sentence. Okay, come on.
There's a lack of dialogue in this episode overall.
Very quiet.
I wanted people to talk more. It's like, you'd think that by now we're over the whole, people are just doing actions without speaking. It's almost like these people have a problem with communication.
Well, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic. They're afraid if they talk, they're gonna spit or something. I don't know, because they're not wearing masks. But in the scene where she's got her baggage and everything, she's all by herself.
She's sitting in this. It's so bizarre. She's sitting in this dark room with this, and you want to talk about the painting of like this black guy wearing like a pink dress or something?
I don't know.
What the hell was that?
I'd have to see it, because I did.
That was so weird.
I used to do art. I volunteered for art appreciation, and for Black History Month, I always did all kinds of African American painters, and so I
I hope you
actually
didn't
notice
appreciate this shitty painting.
I don't remember seeing it. I'll have to go back and look at it for fun.
They showed it like a split second, and then they showed it in the background when she gets up and leaves, and it's so weird. She's reading this like generic essay
I did
with
not like that.
with her monotone voice, just saying history is written, not written. History is written by the winners. You know, you haven't heard that a million times. Like, wow, I've never heard that before. History's written by the winners, and you know, it's so weird, and it's like, you know, at least it's not the stupid messaging, the racist, evil messaging from episode 1. You know, at least it's like good messaging, but and there's no agenda in it, but it's so generic and dull, and then her parents are like looking at her in awe, like she's some sort of a fantastic writer, because she's saying, I mean, she's basically plagiarizing people, because she's saying the same shit people have said for millions of years.
Well, yeah, but I just would have preferred. She's very smart. She's self-taught her things that she probably wouldn't have gotten in the school she was, because it's a crappy segregated school where they probably didn't have the same good education. And she, so I thought, oh wow, wouldn't it be great? And she loved France, and I thought, wouldn't that be great? They say, oh, she's going to France, she got a scholarship or something like that. And no, so we don't even know what the suitcases are for. Is she going to college, and what college would that be back then? I mean, I don't know. I said like Howard University. I don't know, or Wellesley. But of course, it was a segregation time, so you know, I don't even know. I don't know,
but
frankly. I'm being
thing
honest. I don't know.
The thing is that her character, she's reading an essay in this empty room, and then she gets up and walks out of the room, and that's the end of the episode. I mean, what a shitty ending to season 4. I mean, you really just had to end it with her walking out of an empty room.
Well, they didn't end it with that.
Stupid.
They ended with Satchel as Mike.
That's in the credits. That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I think so.
It counts if you look at, but it to norm. I mean, I turned it off as soon as it hit the credits. So I mean, a lot of people do that, and they don't see that. So
well, that's why we're telling them start to watch the credits. It'll come on.
I personally would have liked to have seen her meet her or have an encounter with her aunt at the end, maybe, and then to see how that relationship has changed to now where Ethelreda doesn't like her aunt anymore, and maybe like, because I think she was at like a train station, and so it would have been cool to see the aunt in another train station, because that would sort of make you think back to that, and to see her meet her and then have some sort of a great dramatic scene, you know. But it's just this weird scene where she's like reading a stupid essay that has no meaning, and then it's done.
Okay, well, so we both basically gave it an A. He gave it an A+, I gave it an A. An A is an A is an A is an A. And
yeah, this is the best episode of the season by far.
And I thought they did a good job with what little they had.
Yeah.
And I realized it must have been very difficult. I can't even imagine what this has been like for people doing TV or movies where they've had to pare things down. But you know what? Sometimes people can do better with a little than a lot. And I think this time it applies in this case. And they did it to themselves by killing everybody off.
Killing off the best characters, you should say, because...
Well, they still killed off... I mean, I could not believe the amount of people. It was like watching the Oscars, and they do that memorial montage, and they go through tons of pictures of people of all kinds of parts in the business. And that was just, they didn't do it like that exactly. They just showed their pictures. They might have been doing something,
They were
saying
videos.
something.
They were actual, like, little mini videos, too.
And I didn't really get to see it at first. I went back and rewatched it because Marco said everybody who had been killed was in it. And I had to see what it looked like. It was actually, it was really good, but it was
No, it
like, why
wasn't.
are they showing that?
It was very weird.
To show how many mistakes they made by killing off
Yeah.
certain people that maybe they should have kept around.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, we will be reviewing it as a whole, I guess.
The season.
The season as a whole, which will be entirely different.
Yeah.
But this, I'm glad they did a good job with this last episode, and hats off to them for, doing a lot with what little they had. So, and it's just like what Marco said. It's like we just had it, like getting your Thanksgiving leftovers and making it into a different dish, or making an outfit into something completely different by cutting and sewing and adding things. And so, it was a good job. So that's it, everybody, and we'll be back for
The season 4 review.
Season 4 review and my list of top 10 whatever, I don't know. And then we'll be doing Christmas movies, and we've been trying to plan out what those would be, which is kind of difficult in a way. So, okay, bye, everybody.
Wait, what?
Oh, I forgot. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Like or dislike, or make a comment. You can do it. It's okay. We love to read them. Marco reads them more than I do. I try to get in there. It's just I have so much to do, but if it's fun to, it's just nice to see people discuss
Yeah, like
in a
that
logical way.
Like that one where Mother of Sam decided to come back on her channel to troll again and say that we should just accept anything that happens because it's Fargo.
And that's just
And there was like this pretentious quote where it's like, Fargo is a story where anything happens that wouldn't happen in the real world. So you should just accept that. And if you don't accept that, then you're wrong after hearing all these facts. And it's like, F off.
Okay, well, I don't want to say that, but I do,
Well,
we have our opinion,
well,
and that's what we're expressing. And if we don't like something,
yeah.
I said this before, and I said it in the comments, it's because we know they can do better.
Well, I mean, I could do better. I could rewrite the season in a weekend and make it 10,000 times better.
Well, I don't know if I could do that, but the thing is, there are a lot of people out there who never get a chance to do this, to write an episode, to act, to be any kind of participant in any kind of media project, and they could do, they can call on them because they would love to have the chance, and they don't ever get the chance. So these people got the money, and they had the opportunity, and so they should make the most out. And don't you all agree? So
the excuse making is pathetic. And it's so funny because I predicted that people would just be making all these fucking excuses.
Marco,
and,
please.
And just excuse. Oh, there was no other way things could have happened.
Well, but they did good with this last episode, okay?
It's just ridiculous though, the pathetic, miserable fanboys who just give a 10 out of 10 to everything they see, and it's like,
and that's not right.
Do you have standards anywhere?
I mean, you can't do that.
Like, it's a TV show. I mean, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of the cast, Chris Rock, coming to your front door and saying, "Hey, you get my season an F, I'm gonna F you up"? Like, are you afraid of that? Like, are you that scared? Or are you paid to say that? Like, I just don't get it.
And he's got like at least 2 commercials going, and who knows what else he's doing. He's not suffering. He's doing really well.
He's gonna be in the next Saw movie. He's doing just fine.
Yeah, he's doing great.
He did a effing commercial where he got naked and told people to vote. I mean, he's doing whatever he wants right now, and he probably doesn't even give a shit about our reviews, even though we're pointing out the truth pointing out the truth. It's just a fact that this objectively he did a terrible job with this season, his performance, and that's what this whole season is about. It's supposed to be all about him. And you can't have a good season be all about somebody if they give a shitty performance.
Yeah. He did give it, and we talked about this, and we will talk about it with the season. He did do a few things that were really good, but it was helped with really good female actresses who he kind of like took it from them, like, you know, somebody leading into whatever, and then he took off, and it went together. It was like a music selection.
Well, I would say this last episode he gave a good performance when he went home and
found his son.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did.
So that's it. That's it for me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.